Assalamu alaikum, Shaheen. We finally, isn't it, for South Africa to go? I mean, so how long had you had to wait in order to make sure that these days for the departure are finally happening?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, thank you very much to Hilaal TV for being out here to interview our Hujjaj as well as some of our administrators that are at the airport today. Hajj administration works from a point of view of a 12-month cycle. So the minute Hajj finishes from the previous year, we start looking at the preparatory work for the upcoming Hajj. And Alhamdulillah, when we went across to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in January to do the agreement signatures with the Ministry of Hajj and with the affiliates, that's when we start our final preparations for the accreditation list. Alhamdulillah, we were informed of the 2,500 quota, and that was, taken up after a few lists were put out. And then we obviously made representation for the, additional quota. That came in a little bit later in Shawwal, but Alhamdulillah, that was filled up very quickly through the ready-to-go list. And this ready-to-go list was something that we needed to do, as a result of which, we didn't have the luxury of time to delay the process of accreditation. But the Hujjaj have accepted it, and 3,500 people from South Africa will be represented in Saudi Arabia, Makkah and Medina this year, alhamdulillah. And already we have about 13 or 1400 people in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. In the next week and a half, inshallah, we'll have another, 1.5 to 2,000 people departing for the Kingdom, the last of which will take place, on the 22nd of June. So Alhamdulillah, we make dua that Allah accepts their Hajj. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants them, good health, strong spirits to complete their ibadat and amalan. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings them all back home to their families, inshallah. But most importantly, those who judge that are waiting in the queue, do not despair, inshallah. Because when Allah calls you, your accreditation will come, and inshallah, you will be the next to go on the Hajj, inshallah.
Yeah, I want to talk about it because now obviously the accreditation process, 5 years. I mean, these are Hujjaj that waited from 20, as long as 2019.
No,
So
no, no,
to
2015.
2015. So, I mean, looking at that, I mean, that's a 8 year wait. And finally, alhamdulillah, they're there.
Yes, absolutely. But remember, this is not significant only to South Africa. Countries around the world have exactly the same problem. Malaysia, for example, has a 70-year waiting list. So, we're not unique in the situation. Every country around the world has this yearning for more and for an increase in the quota. But there's only so much space in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia from a point of view of the 5 days of Hajj. And, you can't overburden the population, and you can't overburden the place in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia with overpopulating it with people. So inshallah, we're hoping that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is going to improve the facilities, because I know that by the year 2030, they are hoping to send at least 5 million people for Hajj. This year, we're going to see 2.5 million people. The waiting list, unfortunately, has pushed us back a little bit, and that was as a result of COVID, where for 2 years, nobody from South Africa had done Hajj. This year alone, we went through 6,500 names in order to get 3,500 quota that was filled.
One final question, Shaheen. The importance that Sauk has to have, the relationship it has to have with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, it's important, isn't it? Because that communication has to be clear and concise.
100% so. And Alhamdulillah, since the advent of Sauk back in 1995, 1996, the relationships have grown considerably, has been cemented, has been improved over the years. There's been different iterations with Hajj in South Africa. But Alhamdulillah, I must say that, the improvements and the continuous, tightening of processes, corporate governance and others helps us to maintain that relationship.
Jazakallah so much, Shaheen, and all the best for the next few days are going to come up until all the Hujjaj leave from South Africa.
Jazakallah khairan for the opportunity.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah, Shaheen. Much appreciated.